We are going to bake a rich, fragrant, deeply colored spice cake today, and we are going to do it without cracking a single egg, pouring a drop of milk, or using any butter. This photograph shows a typical scene in 1933. With nearly 25% unemployment, whole industries collapsed and family paychecks vanished. If we look at this grocery store from the era, we can see the shelves were full. The issue was the cost. A dozen eggs or a pound of butter often cost a quarter of a laborer's daily wage. The pantry became a place of arithmetic, where basic dairy became an unaffordable luxury. Yet, birthdays and Sunday dinners didn't stop. Families still looked for ways to put something sweet on the table at the end of a hard week. The solution was already sitting in most cupboards. Home cooks discovered they could replace eggs and milk with a single 10 3/4-ounce can of Campbell's condensed tomato soup. To bake this alongside me, you will need that can of soup, flour, sugar, baking soda, raisins, and chopped walnuts. Note that the recipe calls for shortening, as butter was the primary expense we are trying to avoid. By leaning on a cheap, savory staple to create a dessert, families could maintain their routines, even when grocery budgets were squeezed to the limit. Step 1 is setting your oven to 325 degrees. Then, grab a large bowl and sift together your dry ingredients: 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Next, we add the spices. You need a heaping teaspoon of cinnamon, a half teaspoon of cloves, a half teaspoon of nutmeg, and a pinch of allspice. This is a heavy volume of aromatics for a standard loaf cake. This chart maps the aromatic compounds in the bowl. As you can see, the levels of cinnamon, clove, and nutmeg spike well above the threshold of the tomato. The heavy spice load works as olfactory camouflage, effectively burying the savory notes of the soup. Now, take 3 tablespoons of shortening and cut it into your spiced flour mixture. You can use 2 knives crossing over each other or work it in with your fingers. You are looking for a specific visual cue. Stop once the texture turns mealy, similar to a raw pie crust. Every step in this dry mix has been a preparation for the wet ingredients we are about to introduce, which require a strong foundation to hide their origin. Open your can of tomato soup and pour the entire contents straight into the bowl. This is a critical step. Do not dilute the soup. Use the thick paste exactly as it comes out of the can, with absolutely no water added. As you stir, the batter will turn a startling shade of salmon pink, and the kitchen will temporarily smell like a savory dinner. This animation shows the reaction in the bowl. Acidic tomato meets baking soda, releasing carbon dioxide. The bubbles are trapped in gluten, providing lift. Beyond lift, the soup's fat and water emulsion binds the flour, performing the role of an egg. Finally, fold in a half cup of raisins and a half cup of walnuts. Then spoon the pink batter into a greased loaf pan. The batter may look and smell unusual at this stage, but the chemistry is doing exactly what it needs to do. Place the pan into your 325-degree oven. Set a timer for exactly 45 minutes. Around the 30-minute mark, the savory tomato scent will vanish, replaced by the aroma of baking spices and apple cider. When the cake comes out, the pink color is gone. You are left with a domed loaf and a deep mahogany brown crust. The crumb is tight and moist. The flavor is pure spice, a tangy gingerbread. Even knowing the secret, I can't detect any tomato flavor. This recipe remained a fixture in community cookbooks and on the back of soup cans for 40 years. Its popularity only ebbed once boxed mixes became the norm, making the original baking trick less of a necessity. If you try this at home, serve it without telling anyone the secret ingredient, and let me know in the comments if your family could guess what they were eating. The recipe persists because it is a record of how home cooks adapted to a specific moment in time. Baking it today is a way to re-examine that